Now, Nigeria's Super Falcons are going for their 10th Women's African Cup of Nations title this Saturday, but the competition has never been tougher. This tournament really shows how much women's football is growing and getting more exciting over all over the African continent. To talk more about what's driving these changes, we're joined now by Professor Chuka Onwumechili from Harvard University in Washington, who recently wrote an article exploring these shifts in African women's football. Professor Chuka, thank you so much for making the time. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Okay, thank you as well for having me here. Just one correction, I'm at Howard University in DC.
All right. Thank you so much for that correction. Pardon me there. And we're having this conversation and with a heavy heart. I mean, Banyana could not make it to the finals. But the Falcons final on Saturday features Nigeria versus Morocco. What makes this match cup significant in the context of African women's football today?
I think actually the match is just one game. I think when you look at the entire tournament, one of the things you would notice is what happened in the tournament as well as what didn't happen. What I mean by this is that all the games in the tournament were very tough games. That signifies that there is a major change within the women game in Africa. Teams are becoming very good. It's no longer easy to say, oh, Nigeria is going to do this or that, or that South Africa is going to do this or that. Every game is challenging, as Nigeria and South Africa found themselves involved in challenging games throughout the tournament. But as I said, there is also something that tells us that this tournament is a tough one. There are some teams that should be here that are very powerful teams that they make it to the finals. You're talking about teams like Cameroon. Cameroon, perpetually they make the finals, but they weren't there this time because they were eliminated. It's not just them. Think about Equatorial Guinea. They've won the tournament twice, but they weren't in this tournament. So that signals that the game, the women football in Africa is changing and changing for the good.
Yeah, and it's becoming more competitive. Your article highlights that Nigeria's long dominance is facing new challenges. What are the main signs that women's football across the continent is becoming? I mean, you just mentioned that because some of the big teams, big names are not in the finals. So wouldn't you agree that it's even making it more competitive?
Yes, it's making it more competitive for sure. And there are other signs, as you asked the question about what are the other signs out there. There are other signs. One of the things you would notice is that essentially you are now having some countries, even ones that are mostly Islamic, that are really pushing some money into women football. As you know, CAF as well as FIFA, they've provided money to develop women football in different parts of the continent, and that is also already bearing fruits in terms of how these teams are performing. One of the things, however, is that it's not yet enough, and I keep saying that. What I mean by that is if you really compare the kinds of funds that the women football get in Africa compared to what the men football gets, it's like an ocean of a difference. The men receive a lot of funding, women don't. However, women are making do with what they get, but it's also stunting some progress somewhat. What I mean by that is, for example, there are a lot of women national teams in Africa still that do not play a lot of international friendly matches. They just play competitive games, and this is because of funding. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but apart from funding, you mentioned also that Morocco and South Africa are emerging powers. I'm keen to hear from you, what are the factors that has helped these countries build stronger women teams recently? Of course, you spoke about the aspect of funding, but what else that has helped these teams to be at their best?
One is, there are two things. although kind of different in terms of Morocco, for example, because of the funding, they are able to attract Moroccan girls that are overseas in Europe to be able to play for the national team. When you look at South Africa, there's a lot of money that's coming in from organizations that are supporting South Africa in terms of their national team performance. These things make a whole lot of difference. And it's not just Morocco and South Africa. If you think about it, Algeria that went to the second round this time, they've never been to that stage. What's making Algeria get to that stage? It's also funding. They are getting funding and they are able to attract women that play overseas, like in the United States or in Europe. These girls are able to represent their country, and that makes a difference. They are now able to challenge the likes of Nigeria and the likes of South Africa.
Yeah, but Prof, correct me if I'm wrong. You sound like you like the South African women football team, and thank you for that. But overall, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and challenges for African women's football going forward?
I think there are a lot of challenges. One of the things, if you look at the book that I wrote on this, there are a whole lot of challenges, but I'm going to mention a few of them. I've already talked about funding. That's a challenge, an ongoing challenge. But you also have issues in terms of how society still views women football. You do know that the one incident that did happen in South Africa where a footballer was killed simply because people thought, okay, she's someone who's homosexual, then we got to do something about it. These types of attitudes by the larger society really impacts negatively on women playing. The other one is also all over Africa, a major issue is really religion.
Yeah.
Although some girls fight through this, but it's a major problem. Take Nigeria, for example. People talk about the Nigerian team, Falcons, is a very strong team, dominated Africa. But think about possibilities.
Yeah, talking about possibilities,
yeah.
Professor, because of time, what is your score prediction tomorrow?
You want to put me on the spot on that one. I think that Nigeria is probably going to win tomorrow, but it's going to be tough because the Moroccan girls.
How many goals?
It's going to be tight. If Nigeria win tomorrow, it's going to be by a goal.
A goal or penalties?
Going to win by more than. Well, no, I don't want him to win on penalties. We want the game decided within 90 minutes.
All right, I can imagine that there will be celebrations if they take it. It's going to be more jollof in Nigeria. Well, Prof, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us on Channel Africa.
Yeah, thank you as well. The time went so fast.
Yeah, no, we'll create another time to discuss it further. Thank you so much, Prof. There you have it. That was Professor Chuka Onwumechili from Howard University in the USA talking to us about or sharing insights into the challenging face of African women's football. And Nigeria may be chasing history, but it's clear that the future belongs to many. Well, that's my lot on the show. Africa World Today, standing in for Tsepiso, and thank you so much for allowing Channel Africa to be a station of your choice. And of course, for myself, Innocent Semosa, on behalf of the team behind the scenes, it's goodbye and God bless.